Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with another box. I mean, we can't have too many boxes, can we? It's the Colin Davis anthology on the LSO label, its own label. Now, Colin Davis did a tremendous number of recordings for the LSO during his tenure there, and they have selected some of them. They have selected, let's see, 8 essay CDs, 4 CDs, a bonus DVD, and a commemorative book, which includes 5 limited edition photo postcards, anecdotes from friends and colleagues, and previously unseen material. It sounds like a threat, doesn't it? Well, anyway, here it is. It's very nicely put together, I have to say. It comes with these various books. You know, everything is done in little booky things like that. I mean, hardcover, very durable and solid. And the only thing that I think is problematic is the music and the performances that they selected. Oh, my dear friends, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You know, I guess this is what happens when the inmates are running the asylum. I really do. I mean, these are beautiful. They're very, very nice. But there's some good stuff. There's some very good stuff. And there's some, well, not so good stuff. So let's just see what's on here. All right. So first, we get Berlioz. You've got to get Berlioz, right? You get the Symphony Fantastique, the Te Deum, the Overture to Beatrice and Benedict, and the Overture Les Francs Juges. Well, now, I think the Te Deum is pretty terrific. I think the Symphony Fantastique it's a piece that for some reason Colin Davis never quite got his brain around it. And I don't understand why, because so much of his Berlioz was marvelous, and he was such an impulsive conductor. He would just be the kind of guy to spontaneously erupt for the Symphony Fantastique, but somehow he never did. He never did. The best version he did probably was his first one with the LSO on Philips. Then he did one with the Concertgebouw, which is gorgeously played, but just somehow kind of dull. And then there's this one, which is not as gorgeously played and just somehow kind of dull. I mean, the overtures are fine. I don't understand it, but you also get Les Troyens, the remake, and it's fabulous. It's every bit as good as his first one, which was fantastic. And you do get the text and translations. And this is a very inexpensive set, by the way. I mean, for what you get. So that was really nice. That was nice to have. Then let's see, what else have we got here? Dvorak, New World Symphony. Why? Why? Colin Davis did some great Dvorak. He did one of the reference recordings of the 7th. He did them with the Concertgebouw. They're very, very beautiful. The last thing in the world we needed was another New World Symphony, especially when there were so many other performances of other things he did, which would have been so much nicer to have than that. But, it's like I said, you got to know how to pick them, and they're picking them kind of strangely. I don't mean to say picking them while I have my finger in my nose here. It wasn't in it. It was next to it. I had an itch. So there you go. And then we get Sibelius, Paul Daughter, the Oceanides, and Symphony Number 2. No. Davis was such a great Sibelian, but his Boston Sibelius cycle is the best one, hands down, by a million miles. And this Paul's Daughter, it's so mannered. My goodness, there are parts like in the big brass crescendos where it practically just grinds to a halt. It's just, it's the kind of thing that happens in a live performance. Sometimes, you do something spontaneously, and it's spontaneous, but it doesn't work. Oceanides is quite a bit better, however. And, the Second Symphony, it's not terrible. It isn't terrible. I mean, he knows how to pace it. The finale isn't boring. The second movement is a little slow to get going, but it's good. I mean, it's good. It's just not as good as the Boston one. It's just the way it goes. Then there was the interim LSO one, on RCA that was just vile. That whole cycle was, what a mess. Okay. Next, Vaughan-Williams Symphony Number 4. First rate, vicious, violent, exciting, just really, really good. And, that's what I mean. You could find the things he did that were really terrific. And there were quite a few. I've reviewed like most of the stuff. In fact, what they should have included instead of that would be more Berlioz. Of course, there was a Berlioz box too in a different series from this. So, that stuff was done separately, but he's a great herald in Italy. It's one of the best ever. I mean, they could have put that in here. Was just thinking off the top of my head. Or here, we have Elgar, the introduction and Allegro and the Enigma variations. Not good. They're just not good. It's that simple. The Enigma is all pulled about. It has beautiful moments. Like everything Davis does, it has beautiful moments. But, it just hangs fire. It really does. And it's all the more depressing when his Elgar 2 is absolutely one of the great ones. Why couldn't they get rid of this not so hot Elgar and put in the Second Symphony? Because it's fantastic and very well recorded for this cycle. One of the problems with these performances is that, they were all recorded live and, mostly, I guess, in the Barbican, which has just a dry as dust acoustic. And that really matters. I think that if they had arranged somehow more alluring engineering, we could get past some of the dead spots a little bit more effectively than we do when the acoustic is very dry and it sort of stretches out all the pauses and breaks, without sound carrying through properly. So no, the Elgar is not anything to write home about, but he did some great Elgar. He truly did. So there you go. Tippett, A Child of Our Time, it's terrific. I mean, it's a piece that he owned. He recorded it 3 times. He knew it like nobody else. It's a masterpiece, too. It's a beautiful, moving, tremendous work. And, I can't get enough of Colin Davis' advocacy for Tippett's music. He deserves 10,000% credit because it's not the easiest stuff in the world to do. And I think that, his ceaseless advocacy for Tippett is one of the signal achievements of his career as a conductor. And then we get Walton, Belshazzar's Feast and Symphony No. 1. Now, we talked about this in our Belshazzar's Feast talk. Now, the Symphony No. 1 is okay, but I gave it, I think, a 7 when it first came out. It's not great. It's a little bit wayward, a little bit underpowered. And we have, of course, Previn with the LSO is sort of the exemplar of what this thing ought to be, and it ain't. But the Belshazzar's Feast is insane. It's fantastic. And fortunately, they did do the smart thing here because they coupled them. Originally, the symphony was issued separately, and then they put them together when Belshazzar's Feast came out, and that was just such a smart thing to do. Because you can enjoy the first symphony, it's not horrible, but then Belshazzar's Feast is just great. It's exciting as all hell, and it's wonderfully recorded, and it sounds terrific. So, that was smart. And then we have, let's see, I just mentioned Les Troyens, and then there's the bonus DVD, which I haven't watched because I never watch things like that. And I don't like things that exalt the performer over the music. I mean, I met Colin Davis. He was a lovely man. He really was. At the premiere of Tippett's The Mask of Time in Boston. And, I was with Tippett, actually, for that. And, he was terrific. He really was. And I have nothing but respect for the man as a serious artist, but I don't need to know anything more. He speaks through his achievements. I don't need to watch a TV show. I just don't. And then we have the Commemorative Book with the postcards and all that. I have not even looked at the Commemorative Book to see what the postcards look at. The man behind the music. No. That's always such a mistake. Oh, goodness gracious. It really is. Let me see if we get postcards. I'm just curious. I haven't really looked. Are these the postcards? Holy Moses, look. You do. I see postcards. My Colin Davis postcard. Look at that. There's one. Oh, my finger out of his face. There's one. This is a good one. It looks like he's about to kill somebody. That's a good one. And well, there are more. We don't need to look at all of them, I don't think. But I now have my fabulous Colin Davis Collect 'em and Trade 'em postcard collection. I expect this is not going to appreciate in value the way a Mickey Mantle baseball trading card would. But what the heck? You never know. Maybe there will someday be a market for classical artist postcard swap and trade things at flea markets and places. In the meantime, we have this, and I just wish they'd been smarter in their choices. I really do. None of it is terrible, but some of it just is not great. And you've got 8 CDs, and 4 of them probably are just, you know, and it's just a shame. I mean, your 8 essay CDs, pardon me. There's 4 CDs are Les Troyens, which is amazing. So it's up to you. 12 discs plus stuff. You may want the stuff. You may just want the 12 discs, of which 3 or 4 are nothing special. That's the bottom line. So keep on listening, friends. I mean, they could just have been smarter. They just could have been smarter. Who are we kidding? Oh, boy. Take care.